Welcome to the Foundry, brought to you by Forge College. I'm super excited to jump right into today's explainer, integrating results into reports. Okay, so up until this point in our Solana dApp track, we've really just been making sure your code, actually does what it's supposed to do. But today we find out if it survives contact with the real world, or if it just instantly catches fire the second we put some pressure on it. Right, because it's one thing for your code to work beautifully in a quiet, lonely simulator where it's the only thing running. It's a completely different story out in the wild. We need to see how your smart contract handles heavy traffic without breaking a sweat. It's kind of like the difference between a polite queue and a chaotic Black Friday sale. If your dApp buckles the second a crowd shows up, all those passing tests you wrote won't really mean much to your actual users. So here's our game plan for today. 1. Welcome to performance validation. 2. Metrics that actually matter. 3. Instrument, aggregate, interpret. 4. The concurrent transfer test. And finally, 5. Building your final report. Let's get right to work. Section 1. Welcome to performance validation, going from the simulator to the wild. Let's just do a quick recap of where we are. Last time, we focused heavily on mocking contract dependencies, getting your dApp's engine running flawlessly in total isolation. We built a rock-solid foundation, but now we're moving from that safe simulator to the dynamometer. For those who maybe aren't gearheads, a dynamometer is basically a high-speed treadmill used to measure a car engine's true horsepower. And that's exactly what we're doing to your code today. We're deliberately exercising the functional flows you already built to capture hard data for your capstone project. Actually, scratch that. We aren't changing the functionality at all. We're literally just dropping sensors onto it so we can measure things like latency, throughput, and error rates to create undeniable performance evidence. Moving to section 2, metrics that actually matter, finding the signal. Because if you just turn on every single logging feature, raw logs are like noisy factory chatter. It's totally overwhelming. Our goal is to distill all that noise into clear dials on a dashboard. We want the signal. So what are the core vitals? First, latency. Literally, how long does an operation take to finish? Second, throughput. How many of those operations can you cram into a single second? Then, success and error rates. Does the flow actually finish, or does it explode halfway through? And finally, contextual indicators, like your CPU sweating under the load or massive RPC backlogs. As you dive into other Forge College learning programs, you're going to see these 4 key metrics pop up continually. They are absolutely the vital signs of any Web3 app. Now, here is a crucial tip on how we actually measure that latency. We do not use simple averages. Listen to me on this. Averages lie. Think about it. If 9 users have a lightning-fast 10-millisecond experience, but 1 poor user has a 10-second delay, the average looks totally fine, but that 1 user is furious. Instead, we rely on percentiles, specifically the P95 latency. This tells us the maximum time it took for 95% of the operations to complete. It's how we hunt down those sneaky data gremlins hiding in your tail latency. Section 3. Instrument, aggregate, interpret, our assembly line workflow. So we know what we're looking for, but how do we get it without drowning in data? We use a really simple 3-station assembly line mental model. First, we instrument. We literally place sensors, like timers and counters, onto the code you already wrote. Second, we aggregate. We take thousands of raw timestamps and compress them into those stable statistics we just talked about, like the P95 or operations per second. And finally, we interpret. We take those aggregated numbers, compare them against our required thresholds, and make a definitive pass, warn, or fail decision. It's clean, it's highly repeatable, and honestly, it just makes sense. The absolute most crucial point in all of this is traceability. Your metric schema acts as the ultimate spec sheet. Notice things like the test case ID and run ID here? This ensures every single piece of performance data maps perfectly back to the specific test cases you wrote back in Lesson 2 and the debug traces you created in Lesson 3. If something fails, you aren't guessing where it happened. You have an exact time-stamped receipt of the whole shebang. And this is exactly why we prefer aggregated percentiles over raw timestamps. Raw timestamps just give you this messy, giant pile of individual event times that are practically impossible to read. It's like trying to understand a storm by staring at a million individual raindrops. Aggregated percentiles, though, that's just checking a rain gauge that clearly says it rained 2 inches. You get a clean, actionable signal you can actually graph over time to prove your dApp is getting faster. Let's move on to Section 4, the concurrent transfer test, simulating a crowd. We're going to ground all this theory in a real-world scenario by stress testing a functional flow. Picture the number 100. We are going to simulate 100 parallel token transfers hitting your smart contract at the exact same millisecond. They are not politely waiting in line, taking turns. No way. This is simultaneously. This is how we find out if your application can handle a real crowd. To do this right, we have to set very specific parameters. We don't just run it once. We run 3 total test iterations, pushing 100 concurrent transfers per iteration over a full 60-second steady-state window. Why 3 times? Because running it multiple times exposes any flakiness. We are not going to hide behind a single lucky test run where the network just happened to be fast that day. We're proving consistency. And at the end, it emits a structured metric JSON file. And here's the exact output you'd get. At the end of the loop, your script spits out this precise, machine-readable JSON object containing your performance vitals. You see the run ID, our P95 latency is sitting beautifully at 89.6 milliseconds, throughput is pumping out 152.4 operations per second, and best of all, our error count is a perfect 0. This isn't just someone's opinion about how the app performed, it is hard mathematical proof.
Section 5. Building your final report, the official inspection. This is the payoff, the final step in our assembly line.
We're taking that JSON output and turning it into an official inspection report. And please do not do this manually. A simple script can automatically validate the schema to ensure all fields are there. It can apply the rules, checking P95 and throughput against your targets, maybe triggering an automatic warning if latency gets too high. And critically, it verifies errors, triggering a hard, undeniable fail if even a single error sneaks into that steady state window.
Which leads us right to this final report fragment. This is exactly what you want to see, a definitive pass with a clear technical rationale stating the latency and throughput stayed within configured thresholds. This fragment, complete with explicit traceability links back to your logs, is the definitive stamp of approval you'll merge into your capstone project. It proves you didn't just write a script, you engineered a truly resilient system.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought today. If your test suite ran right now, at this exact moment, would your metrics be hiding flakiness behind simple averages, or would they mathematically prove your dApp's reliability to the world? That is the gold standard we are aiming for. Keep building that reliable code, and definitely be sure to visit forge.college to master more performance techniques and explore all of our other Web3 modules. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.